The only thing is that the media gave a wider coverage, a wider mileage of this. But in our different police records, in our different records that are recorded at the police stations, we have a number of documented cases or reported cases of murder by mob, or what we call mob action. And in the year that ended, that is 2025, in our annual crime report, those reports that we received at the police stations were 950 cases of Ugandans across the country, where individuals who took the law in their hands and desired to sentence other people illegally. In the year 2024, there was a slight increase. It was 1,016 Ugandans whose lives were taken. But in the year that ended, we registered a slight decline, simply because of our vigilance and commitment to work together. Why does the word mob justice not stand? You know, in the true meaning of the word justice, it would mean just and fairness, where a court of competent jurisdiction, a person who is mandated to hear that case, has indeed duly sentenced you and has found you guilty, and therefore that you must be sentenced to death. And the two, and most important, is that you must have fulfilled the principle of fairness, where you are given a fair hearing. We have a case, the most recent case is the case of Onyum Okello Stephen. Ugandans wanted to take the law in their hands, but the police came in and it arrested him. He was taken. He was rescued, detained. A court of competent decision, for this matter, a high court, sat or convened, is sitting in Gava. He was given a hearing. He was even allowed to bring his witnesses, of which he did that. Now, if the true meaning of justice must be observed to the latter, do the community members there have all of that time? You see, the funny thing which happens is that when acts of mob actions take place, people are in haste mode. They are taken by anger. There is no rationality. They even don't ask what has happened. Right. They are there. Oh, you need gooby, 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 gooby. But honestly, if you know that that man is a thief and that what you have done is right, why don't you stand there so that the police can find you there? To stand by what you have done, to show that you have indeed done something which is legally recognized. But because you know you have done an illegality and you have committed a crime or an offense for that matter, you take off. Secondly, if you knew that this person was indeed wrong, did you first explore the avenues through which the crime was committed for which you are sentencing him? Third, if you knew that this person indeed deserved death, did you give him, you know, in law there is what we call mitigation factors. What could be the reasons why you think court should not give you the sentence that you think it deserves to give you? Those are the mitigation factors. You say, I am sick, I committed this when I was not in my mood or when my brains were not whatever. I have responsibility, I am a first offender. Those are mitigating factors. Do you, as some of you Ugandans want to take the law in your hand, give an opportunity to those whom you are trying to sentence. In other words, the whole action is an illegality, the whole action is not spiritual, and it is not premised on any reasoning for that matter. There are reasons for which, as we tend to gather and we tend to find out, we're trying to establish from the suspects of these actions, which they tend to advance for causing mob action. Hey, police, police, but you see, the responsibility of police arresting somebody, detaining somebody, aligning that person to court does not lie in the police alone. There are other criminal justice system or players for which we are all involved, including some of you who want to take the law in your hands, because you are witnesses, you are complainants, you are the community leaders for which you need to come and work with us. There are others. No. As who? Now, omuntu wakutama, do you kill him? Yes, yakutama. Na yegwe byokola oloza gwe mulungi nnyo.
Afande, why do you think people actually take the law in their own hands? But before you even speak into this, somebody comes through and says, "Good morning, I'm Okiria. My son was killed in Mbuya in March 2024. The culprits are there and police have not arrested them until now."
Ms. Okiria, it is unfortunate, and that is what we are trying to condemn, and that's why we want all to get where we want to stand united. I would not just want you to share information about those you suspect to have committed that without reporting to police. The police that presides over, that oversees Mbuya is the police of Ginger Road. Now, for that matter, I want to give you my number, that from here I can share with you the agony, and then we see that we can bring those individuals to book. Nobody of whatsoever should desire, and by the way, let me tell you, they go into hiding after committing this. So you cannot say that and two, they hide even when we don't have information. So I want to give you confidence. I want to call upon you, Mr. Okiria. Call me on 0753 56 1858. Reach out and then we shall establish if indeed your son's life ended up in that. It's very unfortunate, and we shall bring those books.
Right.
Now, what you are trying to tell me, these are the reasons I'm giving. Research has established that some Ugandans believe that there is no trust in the action of the police. And they are partly right, and they are partly wrong. Because you see, where why they are right, you see, it is very, very dear to lose somebody, and very, very painful to lose somebody whom you know you'll never receive back again. He could have been a breadwinner, like for the case of Gongodio. He's a man of fame, a man who was marketing Uganda through sports, a man
who had a family,
a man who had relatives, a man who had a lot of, in my view, when I looked at the images, he was still young and therefore had the potential to contribute to Uganda. So it is painful that such actions. So the memories of some of these things, when they come and they feel that police has not acted, it resurrects those painful whatever and regrets. However, I want to inform fellow Ugandans all out there that police does not work in isolation. Julie, the police is the lead agency in as far as the enforcement of the law is concerned. But the police is not everywhere. The police can only be everywhere with you when we work with you, when we share timely information, when you are able to cooperate with us by giving us evidence, then we can go ahead. By the way, in the instances where criminality has happened or has occurred, police provides technical capabilities, but the rest comes from the community. You know, in the criminal justice system, if you want to achieve 100%, there are various key players. One, there is the scene of crime, where it has occurred. There is the victim, and there is the suspect. Where the victim has been targeted, there could be onlookers. There could be something which these people were trying to look at. I mean, we're trying to envy in order to acquire. But for you as onlookers, what do you do? Two, if it is true that this crime has happened and has occurred from there, where police is not, have you been in position to enable police do its work? You see, one other thing that I want you to appreciate, especially our viewers, is that there is total moral decay among us, some Ugandans. We no longer value other people's lives except our individualism. That's why we begin emphasizing, it is my right, my right. Remember, the enjoyment of your right as individual needs must be traded off by enabling another Ugandans to enjoy his or her right without interference. I repeat, the enjoyment of your right must be traded off by allowing other Ugandans to enjoy their lives without interference. By doing one, respecting them. Two, not overriding your right against other people's rights. Because in the laws of Uganda, we are all equal, and therefore you must not be able to do things that antagonize the rights of others. But you see, you can see that in the circumstances under which Gongodi was being attacked, do you think this happened without other Ugandans there?
They were there.
What did they do? This is the level of moral decadence. You look at somebody being tortured. Other Ugandans have their vehicles. They're even rolling up their screen so that they don't see you. I mean, they pretend not to see. Others speak. Others, but not knowing. You know, one time, there was a scenario where a woman was shouting at the onlookers and a mob that was beating somebody. Little did she know that the person who was being beaten was her son. Those who are tortured by these goons in the name of mob action are doing it against your own relatives, against your own sons, against your own daughters. Therefore, let's stand united. When you look at and observe some of those actions, there are various actions for which you can be able to do. One, you can call the police. Two, you can call other people to support you. You know, like the instance of Gaba. When these women saw that indeed Onyum had a tool of violence, what they did was to scamper, make alarm, which attracted other onlookers. To you, as Ugandans, what must you do? Please, don't wait for the police, because police is not everywhere. Police is everywhere through you, because by obligation and law, we must work together.
Afande, allow me interject there. I have watched stories since the incident, sad incident of Gongodio. I've watched many stories of those who have experienced mob justice, and at the same time even
not mob justice,
mob action.
Yes.
Do pardon me on that. I've watched people who have been victims of mob action, in the sense that as someone else was being beaten because of mob action, they went to save the situation, and instead they were the ones beaten and taken to police and charged for crimes they were not committed. In particular, I watched one, a celebrity called Uncle Manny, who said that if you see anything in line with chaos like that, move like you've never, like a father passing via a shrine. Because at the end of the day, if you involve yourself, it's you who will become the victim, yet you only wanted to help. How best now can you convince a Ugandan to help a situation where they suspect that they could easily end up in jail for something or a crime they did not commit?
You know, defeatism or complacence is not an answer to some of the challenges. Julie, do you walk?
Yes, I do.
Do you stumble?
Yes, I do.
Have you stopped walking?
No, I don't.
While eating, do you bite your tongue?
Yes, I do.
Have you stopped eating?
No.
No. Please, let's not use avenues of escapism to save others. Yes, it is true. Circumstances of that nature cannot be ruled out under the heat of passion and circumstances in which there is counter-accusations here and there. I gave you a scenario where I saved a certain woman whose life was under threat by relatives, that because her husband had been killed under unknown circumstances and she was being suspected. The mob of relatives wanted to kill her. She ran to the police. I was alone. I was insulted. I was stones hurled at me. Did it stop me from doing my work? Definitely your answer will be, but you are a police. I am a police. Am I not a human being? Does this uniform make me very extraordinary from being a human being? I cry. I eat, I sleep, I walk, I have emotions. So humanity should not be overridden by small. You see, when you want to create avenues of diversion, you'll then bring in, you see what? The other day there was a woman. A woman, she produced her biological children. Her biological children. She educated them. But the biological children chased her from her home and her land and said, you go back to your father's land. This is not your father's land. After all, the one who brought you on this land died. This is our land. If it was you, what would you do? Julie, tell me. Would you take the example of these others? It has happened. No. What happened? This woman composed herself. She went to court. Over 10 years ago, court gave a ruling this month, and of which was given her property. And eventually, her own children have felt very embarrassed, have tried to come back to her, have even apologized. But so life is always an avenue of contestation, and in that area of contestation you will not be able to do something that will not be challenged.
Right, Afande, allow me get into some of the comments coming through. We are looking at the role of the police in stopping mob action in Uganda. Be part of it, 0709 602 592. And looking at some of the comments coming through. Good morning, moderator. This is CB Derek watching live from Bale, Bungoko. The reality is police is not defined because they are always bringing victims to book. But all in all, they come back to the community and still disorganize it after serving the sentence. These Ugandans are completely tired of theft. That is CB Derek. And someone else comes through and says, my case was reported to Ginger Road Police Station. This is Mr. Okiria, who says, I have a reference to this effect. Please help me with your number. He did read it. I'm not so sure if you got it, but he read the number to you for you to call and have a way forward. Police are responsible for most of mob justice. The police side with thieves. They remove evidence from files. They want bribes to help. There is a policeman in Wandegea who has sided with thieves after conning me 130 million. Please tell the police officer in studio about the in the station, in other words, in studio, about this police officer. You did not leave your name, but it would be nice for Afande to get your name. Phillips from Karamoja. Good morning, Afande. Mob action takes place because police do not do their work diligently without involving money. The report is done, but without proper investigation, the person, that is the culprit, is released. The police are reported of the problem. Police say they don't have transport, they need fuel. Afande, over to you with all the views and comments that have been reported by our viewers.
There is the caller from Ginger Road. I did share, but for that matter, I'll also give my number at the end of this. Just like even the one of Wandegea. I will also give the number to this. I want to appreciate Philip. Whenever I'm on this program, Philip is always my ardent viewer there. I want to thank you very much for that.
Philip from Karamoja.
Yes, and happy hearing from you always. And that is very good. Please, our esteemed viewers here, I am not here to exonerate police from doing its work. I am not here to exalt you that you are doing a commendable job. I am here to inspire you to know that life is very precious in its context, because that life is in the image of God. Whether one is lame, black, ugly, what, and so on and forth, that is the image of God. We need to preserve it. And therefore, for that matter, our esteemed viewers there, it is our combined effort and responsibility for us to stand united. A blame game will not take us too far. I gave you the statistics of 2025. 950 Ugandans lost their lives in the hands of goons, some of who are even on this program. It is unfortunate I've not come with the statistics to give you.
Some of them are being displayed on the screen. 950 Ugandans killed in mob justice as of 2025. And 2024, 1,016 Ugandans killed in mob justice. And
2023 was slightly higher.
And you can see
2023 was slightly higher.
You can see the decrease between 24 and 25.
Now, what I want to inform our esteemed viewers, that yes, police has its own weaknesses, but police is not the lone player in as far as criminal justice system is concerned. We all have a responsibility in as far as this is concerned. Do you play your role? Do you give us timely information? I was even alluding to the fact that we have saved more Ugandans through this violent act. Take an example of this Onyum. If it was not for the intervention of the police, what would have happened? That would be another story on what we are saying. Simply, we were able to rescue the life of Onyum because of information. We got timely information. Had we got even information on Gongodio, we would have been able to rescue his life and maybe get a fair hearing for that matter. I want to call upon you, Wajamin. Let's take the law as it is. The law says we are innocent until proved so by a court of competent jurisdiction. For you, as you tend to apportion the blame game, who is competent enough to begin sentencing the other? To begin apportioning the blame to the other? Yes, for Philip's case and any other person who has said the police commits bribery, seeks for bribery. You see, I don't know how often we will be talking about. You see, the Baganda say, Kanokafo kakagoma kalubendera. Because even time in, time out, when we say there is no need for you to pay for police services, except because there are certain services which you must pay for. There are certain services. But services to arrest, services to investigate, services to get
statement. To write the police statement.
Police statement, services to transport, services for detention and giving food, those are free services. Free. But you see, you get more, you always want to get avenues of talk shows like these ones in order to want to name and shame. But if you think you are an angel, why don't you stand out like Angel Gabriel and say, I am here, I am standing for the truth, and we know that you are indeed talking what is true. If you so think that the police is corrupt, please, I am informing you, any policeman who seeks for money for the services I've mentioned, please report him. If you are in Karamoja, report that person. Philip, get my number, can call me. Get go the office of RPC, go the office of the DPC, and if it is those very people, then you use avenue of PSU. PSU is there. There are services for which you are supposed to pay.
Like?
Police report. Escort duty. Firearm. You get me? You must pay for them. But a canine, a dog, no. Fire, no. You don't pay for such services. But you see, what happens is that some of you, through acts of connivance, you even eat money from your own relatives. You say, that's about, usubira Uganda yoga to what they say. I just said, why? So comfortable.
Now, Afande, I hope the producer is able to display the statistics again, because some of them show the cases that were actually reported to police. Those were
entirely reports.
Yes.
Which were captured.
Yes, the reports that were captured, and those that were convicted, only 2 cases out of those that were taken to court became convictions. What
they are ongoing.
Because I wanted to ask you, what do you think of the statistics?
They are court going.
The
issue of murder is not something you can conclude in 1 or 2 days. Yes, and 2, it could have even happened on multiple scenes. So police needed to gather evidence. 3, it may be that the suspect were given
229 cases submitted there, and as the displays continue on, one of the things that 2 convictions and 183 cases remain under trial by the end of that was last year, 2025. Yes. One of the things that have maybe helped as a tool to make awareness of mob action incidents is recording of these videos.
Yes.
What are the conditions under which one is supposed to record? Because sometimes it looks like even when you record, you're committing a crime. Yet, maybe when you record, you're helping the situation. Which one is which?
One, Access to Information Act provides for Ugandans to have access to information, particularly the one which is not sensational. In instances of some of these videos, they are very stigmatizing. They are very, they arouse a lot of emotions. And even, you see, if you looked at some of these things happening, the whole thing can be spiral. So that's why there is always a call to restrict sharing of some of these videos. Because when you share with them, you don't know. You may find that it is your relative. And when you see such, in some of these cultural areas, there is always a revenge spree. A revenge spree. Last year in Arua, there was a school which was conducting an Easter vigil, and in that Easter vigil there was a suspect from the community who had been who was suspected to be amongst the community. So the students stand rowdy, and before the police could come in, the other community members had already entered the school and were destroying property. So when you share some of these gruesome videos, they arouse a lot of negative.
Further mob action.
Yes, yeah, a spiral. So that's why there is a restriction. But two, you may desire to spoil the evidence which could support in our investigation. Because you see, when somebody has done that and sees himself in the act of conducting that, he takes off and goes into hiding forever. So you may not be able to enable us get him. For example, that one carrying a stone. If we get that footage and begin tracing for him, do you think he's still where he was? So he has run away. And therefore it becomes very difficult. You are aiding such a person to even hide. But if you had that, you shared it with the relevant authority, which authority is mandated to handle that, then we would be in position to handle it and then be able to do the best work. Right,
our time is fast spent, but allow me get a few comments out of the way. Afande. Good morning, Julie and Afande. I'm Mikuma Jane watching from Paida Zombo. I commend Afande for the great work. However, I also suggest community policing starts right from primary schools. Such impact is realized from the grassroots. All right, and Mfuluma Innocent listening from Kasese Municipality, and he says thank you for the program. Good morning, presenter. I'm Francis Amuge from Moroto. I believe one of the major causes of mob action is our communities are growing and the growing lack of trust in the justice system. Many people feel that crimes or criminals are often arrested and released without facing appropriate punishment, which creates frustration and a sense of helplessness among the public. And mind is not mob action. My daughter in Uganda, who is still okay, I'm trying to comprehend what you are trying to mean. And you say, Afande, help us and call Uganda police for help. I'm Adokorach Christine, and I'm in Bale. Afande will definitely be sharing his number at the end of the show so that you're able to engage with whatever issues that are at hand and you are helped effectively. Afande, as we close the conversation, what are your parting shots and how is community policing helping the situation from police's perspective?
One, community policing carries out the mobilization, the sensitization, and raising awareness, and supports the community in knowing what they are supposed to do. Just like I'm on this big network inspiring you out there, those who have called in and those who have not yet called in and have got my information, you need to understand that it takes two to entangle. It takes two to entangle. Your side and our side, if we all committed ourselves and worked together, these actions of individuals, greedy individuals, would come to an end. And you know, this business of feigning you are ignorant of the law, remember, ignorance of the law is no defense in courts of law. You'll be arrested, be held accountable for your actions. I therefore want to call upon all Ugandans, like the police is mandated to protect your life, you are also required to cooperate and give police timely information. in order for us to fulfill our duties. This will go a long way into preventing acts of mob action. I want to use this opportunity to invite all of you to condemn this. Let's stand united. There is no amount of justification, either in the form of anger, ignorance, lack of trust, all of those that will really justify actions of mob action. Because the right to life is supreme, and you have denied somebody to live his life which will never see again.
Right.
Please, let's appreciate that and protect each other by being law-abiding citizens. My number, please, particularly the one of Ginger Road, I want to have a word with you. This one of Wandegeya, then this one of Uganda, about the daughter. The person who has suggested taking this conversation up to the grassroots or primary. Yeah, indeed, my community liaison officers or our community liaison officers are down there. I will take the message further by encouraging them to reach out. But we are there, and we shall be able to continue working with you. We can't stand alone. We are strong when we get united, and you are our strength.
Indeed. The
number is 0753 56 1858. That number is on WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp me at my time when I'm not busy. I'll be able to respond to you and link you up to where you want. So I want to thank you once again for God and my country.
Indeed, thank you very much. Afande, ignorance of the law is no defense in the courts of the law. That is a statement, that is a take home for me, and I think should be the same for you as we all fight against mob action. Message from Anatoli Muletera, Commissioner Community Policing at the Uganda Police Force. Thank you so much for being on the show. Good morning for God and my country.
Of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years. Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin